Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Sticky Note Marketing Show. I'm your host, Mary Czarnecki, and today I'm thrilled to introduce you to Dave Behar, who is my guest today, our guest expert. And if you're meeting Dave for the first time, he is the founder, CEO, and chief executive athlete of Ion Network and Behar Brands. So, welcome, Dave. So happy to have you here on the show.
Welcome to you too, Mary. It's great to be here.
Yeah, no, and I'm excited. For those of you guys listening, watching us, we are going to be talking about collaboration in a noisy, complicated world. So if you've ever felt a little overwhelmed by that topic, this is going to be the episode for you. So let's get into it, Dave, because I know we were talking in the green room, the pre-show, a little bit about what you have to share with us, and I'm excited to get into today's conversation. But I know there are some people who are meeting you for the first time. So maybe just briefly, for those meeting you for the first time, just tell us a little bit about what it is you do on a day-to-day basis.
Day to day, week to week. I basically invest and invent at the same time, invest in great ventures and running Ion Network, which is a multi-platform network, primarily media, some great technologies, and reaching, in fact, 28,000. The latest count is 28,500 local towns in North America. So hyper localized channel set, as well as doing some great things in Ion Sports and Ion Health, Nutrition, Kids, Family, etc. So we have a production company, distribution company, and for that matter, distributing great folks like yourself and your shows, and have the ability for the world to upload into Ion and distribute their shows in various forms of content. Exciting times in developing out, supporting, being a media partner with leagues and great creators and events and such like that. As long as it's fun.
Exactly. We're going to be talking about a fun topic today, which I think,
Okay.
at least I think is fun. I know some people don't love it, but I think collaboration is a really fun topic because it gives us the opportunity to connect with different audiences, different businesses in sometimes surprising ways. So I'd just be curious from your own experience, where have you seen collaboration be beneficial to what you've built in the past?
It comes in all shapes and sizes depending on your business model. And first and foremost, let's just say if you have a product, a wholesale product, being if you're in the business of a product, let's just say nutrition, you need to collaborate, of course, with those selling your product, retailer. So anything that's on a shelf or for that matter online, it's a constant collaboration, both strategic as well as just through the right means so you can move your product and move your message. And so when it comes to, and of course, collaboration, it's one of those great Ion words. It's three-letter word at the end, but we really like collaborating with folks in the content space, folks in the event space, and certainly great brands, whether it be a aspiring brand that's just getting their feet wet up and running, or a kind of company that wants to scale, because we are about scale. And you have to have collaboration to get there. So experience wise, it goes across the board. You could just take an event and you have to collaborate for it to be a successful relationship and partnership, because there is end goals that each of the entities have in mind. So just know what those are and again collaborate to get there.
Now, for those who are listening to this episode or watching us on YouTube, they may be running a brand or a business
Yeah.
and maybe feeling, okay, I haven't really pursued a lot of collaboration opportunities in the past. If someone's really just getting started with collaboration relationships, what would you say might be a couple of things that they want to make sure that they're asking themselves or considering to make sure that they're agreeing to the right collaborations? Because no one has unlimited resources, no one has unlimited time. So,
Yeah.
what are the key questions someone might want to ask as they're getting started with the right collaborations?
I think part of it is it doesn't matter if you have a dollar or $100 or millions of dollars. It's what's the goals and objectives. And besides asking yourself, it's asking who you want to collaborate with, let alone the market. So you have to find out where you're filling the voids so the objectives can be met. And hopefully you have something that they have that you have something that they don't have, and likewise, and then you can succeed together through collaboration. I don't want to overemphasize the term collaboration because in different ways, it could be called a brand partnership, whatever. One, the brand is offering this, and the other brand or the other event or marketing platform, whatever, is offering something else that you both need. You want to not just ask yourself what is your outcome that you're after, whether it be metrics or whatever it is, or simply, yeah, I want to reach these number of people or end up in a certain sales environment or something like that. And then you want to know that from who you're collaborating with. And it's just like in personal relationships. You got to be on the same page one way or the other and be pretty clear with where you're both headed.
Definitely. I like that highlight that you mentioned too, that it doesn't have to be a super formalized collaboration. Brands and businesses can work together in a whole variety of different ways.
Yeah.
And I know we've all probably seen ones where it just made sense, right? Oh, of course, those two brands should partner, or
Yeah.
those two teams should.
Like-minded type of stuff. Don't get me wrong. One thing is the proverbial handshake and sort of that verbal type of relationship and agreement, but having a simple MOU just to say, hey, you're doing this, we're doing that, it's probably the easiest way to get to collaborating on whatever it is that you're doing. And that's just a platform to move from not necessarily a greater, more detailed agreement per se, but hey, you never know. That might be one of the solutions to get even further, but at least things in the objectives are clear.
I like that. The reminder that, okay, let's make sure we're starting with a picture of success in mind so we
Yeah,
know when we get there, did we succeed or not?
that's
Yeah.
right.
So I'm curious, there may be brands and partners, collaborations like this that make sense at the surface and the outset, but I'd be curious, in your experience, where have you seen a surprising collaboration or brands that on the surface may not have seemed to go together be really successful in your opinion? Maybe it was an event or a product launch or something like that, but where have you seen brands that maybe at first glance may not go together actually do really well in bringing each other's audiences together?
It's interesting. It would seem to be quite contradictory a little bit because we're heavy in sports.
Yeah.
And you would think that in sports, why would you be marketing things like alcoholic beverages and things like that, and at different levels from beer to spirits and such? But there's also the social side of sports, let alone the fact that if a food and beverage brand is wanting to do that deal in an event or league sense, it then is meant to then maximize through retail and the sell through and what is the conversion. That's more or less not just a branding exercise, but a conversion exercise. So those that are seeing it on location are going in, but you would initially see it as, gosh, don't I need to be careful about what I consume or something,
Mhm.
being an athlete, or for that matter, the spectators. But at the same time, it's meant to cause great things to happen and to celebrate victory too.
No, that's true. No, that makes a lot of sense. I guess I'm curious too, in your experience, have there been anything that has made a good partner for you? I know we're talking about maybe pursuing collaborations, but people who are listening and watching to this may actually have been approached by other businesses with opportunities. Have there been other people that have approached you with opportunities in the past that, looking back on that experience, give someone advice if they are approached by someone else?
Yeah, again, it depends on what each entity is after. Ben always getting approached even from just personal stuff, not just what would be business, well, to helping others succeed, even personally, let alone business. But I think there's no real surprises other than each of us has, and each of us individually are our own networks when you're talking about technology and media and such. So that's where the world of influencers, and in our case, as the growing I influencers, but offer an audience, and in this case, reaching, and again, a certain segment, let's call it. And at the same time, one of the basic collaborations is, hey, I've got, and which is super important because it relates to sales, and sales is what fuels businesses. If we're having a business conversation, right? So what is it that you need to do to cause your product to be on the shelves and or in that retailer store, let alone even your own direct deal, your own direct retail, which you have to collaborate with, let's say, that platform provider, which it might just be automated, not necessarily where you have to get in the conversation, come up with something, a unique agreement. Might just be, again, a online type agreement, but it's still, you're still collaborating. You still need to be able to utilize the assets and attributes of each of the companies. So again, that it's a pretty broad subject. And if we want to go down the channel of things like licensing, intellectual property, if you have a great brand, a great property that you just like to extend it, obviously that's a collaboration too by somebody that produces things that your logo or brand might be on, or at least be aligned with. And so those are lots of fun. It's like I've done hundreds and hundreds of license agreements, but at the same time, it's just got to fit. You can go back to your comment about it being a noisy world and such. It's, does that relationship cut through what it needs to, no matter what your budget is? Because yeah, it is pretty noisy out there.
Yeah. When it comes to that noisy world, you brought up influencers and connected to that, I think personal brands. When we're maybe thinking about smaller brands, so if there are smaller brands that are watching this, would you say that tapping into personal brands or influencers is a key opportunity right now? Or is that something that maybe is more of a distraction for brands? What would you
It
say?
could be a distraction. And for one is, and not to downplay what is influencers, everyone's an influencer. And in fact, someone that thinks about micro markets, and you say small brands, like what constitutes a small brand? Heck, I love small brands because a lot of either small brands make up a big brand or it's they're reaching a specific audience, specific niche, whatever. It comes down to what's the goal? What do you want as your outcome? Because let's just say you're on an influencer campaign, which an influencer campaign solves, but in influencer wise, who do they reach? What is their audience? And what does that conversion even look like? Because at one point, you have to be able to have transactions occur. If you don't have transactions and sales, guess what? Where's the payment come from? And no small business, let alone large, wants to burn through money, capital, or sales or margin or whatever. You just have to play it smart, and hopefully, again, you're like-minded and you're have shared values, which I think is super important. And once you have those, you have everything, because that's where it becomes seamless in terms of that relationship and collab. And then there needs to be some level of business transaction, of course, but
Yeah. Yeah, so that connection to the actual payoff, right? So knowing whether or
yeah,
not this is a distraction again comes back to I need to know what success is looking like for us. I need to
yep.
be clear on that with my partner, right? Making sure that they can deliver on this, they feel comfortable about it, and we're both the
Well,
marching to the same drummer here.
yeah, yeah, you're right for sure. I think though part of it sometimes the relationship isn't necessarily about them having almost to have to bear the weight of what your objective is. Of course, they may want to help deliver that and you want to deliver for them, but the reality is you're delivering for yourself. It's critical that you can use your right mind and sound mind, let alone if you have a consultant involved or an agency, let alone internal team, that basically is going to say, okay, are we reaching our objectives? Because the objectives might be different and likely are between whoever you're collaborating with. As long as you're meeting your objectives and nobody's getting hurt along the way, then it would make a lot of sense to pursue it.
Amazing. I have one last question for maybe those people who here are not necessarily the decision makers, but they're trying to sell in an idea for a collaboration or a partnership or
Huh?
something to their own internal stakeholders, maybe their management. So, what would you give as advice to someone who is putting together an opportunity that they have to sell into maybe their management? Obviously, we're definitely hearing that they have to be clear on what success is. Any other tips for selling those ideas to internal stakeholders?
I think part of it is just make sure you get your feedback and buy-in for that matter, whether it be through others on the internal team or outside team to clarify, hey, this is the research, let alone the homework you did to have this pathway to success or succession, I like to be calling it. But at the same time, just get your ducks lined up. And because the amount of opportunities, let alone what is all those things we get faced with options and funnels and pathways to buy this and this will happen, et cetera, et cetera. It's like you want to be able to have that information together to say, I've looked at those things and come up with the best option or best options. And then it's always good to then have a couple of different options versus, hey, this one, because you also have to make sure that whoever you're then pitching to and or trying to sell the concept to, that they are actually into what it is that you're presenting to the extent. So you then are coming up with your solutions and have done your homework versus just an idea, or it could be an ideation stage, but at the same time, so you can ring that home, so you can actually take it to the win and the victory column. So
Nice. So bring them along on how you got to this idea and then make sure you're clear
yeah,
on what's in
yeah,
it.
that's super important. Yeah.
Definitely. Well,
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much, Dave, for being here, being our guest expert today on the Sticky Note Marketing Show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Mary. It's been fun.
No problem. Any parting thoughts, any last piece of advice for the folks listening to today's episode?
Did you say parting thoughts or partying thoughts?
Either way, we can go in either direction, whichever you want.
It's all good. No, I don't say, hey, I think we covered it, but we're good. And just stay focused, stay hungry, and stay cool. Stay
Amazing.
authentic. All right.
Wherever you're watching or listening to this, we'll definitely be connecting you with Dave and his team. But if there's one place you want to invite people to follow up with you, if they have questions, if they want to continue the conversation, Dave, what's the one place you would definitely emphasize that they could find you?
You can find us. We're in a bunch of channels, of course, but ions.com, IONS. And then I'll sometimes throw my email out because I do answer emails. I love hearing from people. Dave at ions.com, 2 4-letter words. So
Fantastic. So we'll
there you
include
go.
that wherever you're joining us from.
Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you so much again, Dave,
All
for being
right. We'll see you next time.
terrific. And thank you all for watching and listening. If you're joining us today and you found value in today's episode, please share this with a friend, like, subscribe, so you get notified of our next episode. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Sticky Note Marketing Show.